Have you ever wondered why, despite doing all the right things, eating well, staying moderately active, and keeping up with your health checkups, you still feel as if something is missing? That restless energy late at night, the low hum of anxiety that seems to settle into your chest when the world grows quiet, or that faint but persistent sense of loneliness even when you're surrounded by familiar faces? If any of this sounds familiar, I want you to stay with me, because what we're about to talk about isn't the kind of advice you'll hear in your doctor's office or read in a medical pamphlet. In fact, it's something most doctors simply won't tell you, but they should. Let me take you back to a moment I shared with a man named Walter. At 67, Walter looked like he had everything under control. He was a retired engineer, proud father of 3 grown children, and still had the sharp mind and dry humor that had served him well throughout his career. But one evening, as we sat beneath the soft glow of his porch light, his words took on a rare vulnerability. "You know," he began, his voice barely above a whisper, "there are nights I lie awake, and it's not the aches or the worries keeping me up. It's this emptiness. Like my body's forgotten how to feel alive." That conversation stayed with me, because what Walter was really describing was a profound disconnection from his own body, from his own sense of vitality. And as I listened, I realized how many people in their golden years quietly carry this same invisible weight. The world often tells us that certain pleasures have an expiration date, that after a certain age, passion and intimacy are indulgences of the past. But let me ask you, when do we start believing that nonsense? What if I told you that the simple, private act of self-pleasure holds within it a treasure chest of health benefits, benefits so profound that they can touch nearly every aspect of your well-being? And yet, it remains one of the most misunderstood and underutilized forms of self-care, especially for those over 60. This isn't just about fleeting moments of pleasure. It's about rekindling your connection to life itself. You see, after the age of 60, the body undergoes a cascade of hormonal changes. Testosterone levels drop, not only in men but in women as well, leading to decreased energy, lower mood, and a diminished sense of drive. Sleep becomes fragmented, stress settles into the muscles and joints, and the vibrant emotions that once came so easily seem to fade into the background. But nature, in her infinite wisdom, has built within each of us a remarkable system for restoring balance, a system that can be awakened with nothing more than the gentle rediscovery of your own touch. Think about this for a moment. When you engage in self-pleasure, you're not just chasing a moment of satisfaction. You're triggering a series of powerful physiological responses. Your brain releases dopamine, lifting your mood almost instantly. Oxytocin floods your system, washing away feelings of isolation and stress, replacing them with warmth and contentment. And then there's prolactin, the hormone that gently nudges your body toward restful, healing sleep, the very kind of deep rest that so often feels out of reach in later years. And the benefits don't end there. Masturbation after 60 has been shown to improve circulation, which is critical as we age. With every heartbeat, oxygen-rich blood flows more freely, carrying with it the nutrients and healing compounds that keep tissues healthy and vibrant. That tingling warmth you feel after release isn't just a fleeting sensation, it's your body remembering how to heal itself from the inside out. Walter had spent years ignoring this side of his life, convinced that it was somehow inappropriate or even harmful at his age. But after that conversation, he made a quiet decision to reclaim his right to pleasure. He didn't tell anyone. He didn't make a grand declaration. But slowly, he began to notice changes. His sleep improved. That constant tension in his shoulders and chest loosened. And most surprisingly of all, he found himself smiling more, laughing more freely at small, ordinary moments. It wasn't about the act itself, it was about what it represented. A return to living, rather than simply existing. Now, you might be wondering, is it really that simple? And the answer is, sometimes, yes. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the most profound. Because at its core, this isn't just about physical pleasure. It's about honoring yourself, recognizing that your needs, your desires, don't disappear with age. They evolve, they deepen, and they remain an essential part of who you are. So, the next time you find yourself staring at the ceiling in the quiet hours of the night, feeling that familiar restlessness or sense of longing, I invite you to consider this. Your body still holds the key to joy, to relaxation, to that peaceful sleep you've been searching for. All you have to do is give yourself permission to turn the key. In the next part, We're going to explore the hidden emotional and psychological transformations that occur when you embrace this side of yourself fully, how it softens grief, quiets anxiety, and even rebuilds confidence you thought was lost forever. Stay with me. What comes next might just change the way you think about aging, and about yourself. If part 1 was about waking up to the idea that self-pleasure after 60 isn't something to be dismissed or hidden away in shame, then now it's time we explore the part most people are too afraid to talk about, the emotional and psychological healing that unfolds when you finally give yourself permission to reconnect with your body. And I want you to really hear this, because what we're about to discuss isn't simply theory, it's lived experience, real and raw, from people just like you who found their way back to a part of themselves they thought had faded long ago. I once sat with a woman named Helen, a soft-spoken artist who had just turned 70. Her hands, though aged, still carried the graceful precision of someone used to creating beauty out of nothing but colors and canvas. Yet, when it came to her own life, she felt that vibrancy had slipped away. Her husband had passed nearly a decade earlier, and though the years had dulled the sharpest edges of grief, they hadn't filled the empty spaces he left behind. She described her days as quiet, her nights as long, and her emotions as something she kept neatly folded away, untouched and gathering dust. When I gently asked if she had considered reconnecting with her own body, she looked at me with disbelief. "Is that really still for me?" she whispered. My answer was simple. "It's always for you, Helen. Until your last breath, your body remains a part of your story." That conversation marked the beginning of a new chapter in her life. Slowly, cautiously, she began to explore what had been forgotten. And in doing so, something remarkable happened. She wasn't just rediscovering the pleasures of touch, she was unlocking long-buried emotions, feelings that had been waiting patiently beneath the surface. Tears came, but so did laughter. Memories returned, some bittersweet, others warm and comforting. And through it all, she realized that the ache she had always associated with loneliness wasn't just about missing someone, it was about missing herself. This is the deeper, often unspoken benefit of masturbation after 60. It becomes a mirror, not one that reflects wrinkles or gray hairs, but one that shows you your own resilience, your own capacity for joy, comfort, and peace. Through those quiet, private moments of intimacy with yourself, you begin to rewrite the narrative that aging must mean emotional isolation. Physiologically, this makes perfect sense. When you experience pleasure, the brain releases not just dopamine and oxytocin but also serotonin, the very chemical responsible for feelings of happiness and contentment. It's no wonder that people who embrace this practice report feeling lighter, more at ease, and even more connected to those around them. Pleasure is a language the body understands, a reminder that joy isn't reserved for the young, it's a right, regardless of age. And what about the crushing weight of anxiety that so often creeps into the lives of those in their later years? Worries about health, about becoming a burden, about the future and what little time remains? These thoughts have a way of curling up beside you at night, robbing you of peace and rest. But here's where the power of self-pleasure becomes more than just a fleeting distraction, it becomes an act of defiance against fear itself. In the midst of pleasure, the mind can't hold on to fear. It can't dwell in regret. For those precious moments, the body and mind are fully present, immersed in sensation, connected to the here and now. And that, my friend, is where healing begins. Because in those moments, you're not worrying about what might happen tomorrow. You're simply being alive and vibrant in the most human way possible. I remember a man named Gerald, a retired history teacher who used to tell me he felt invisible. His children had moved far away, his wife had passed several years earlier, and even his weekly outings felt like exercises in watching the world pass him by. "It's like I've become a spectator to my own life," he confessed. And yet, when he began to gently reclaim his own sense of physical pleasure, something shifted. He no longer saw himself as a man waiting for life to end. He started walking taller, meeting new people at his favorite cafe, and even started volunteering at the local library, sharing his love of history with young minds eager to learn. You see, this isn't just about the bedroom. It's about how embracing your own humanity in its fullest form transforms how you show up in the world. Confidence doesn't fade with age, it just needs to be awakened. And sometimes, that awakening begins in the most private, personal moments you share with yourself. And if you're still hesitating, still hearing that old voice in the back of your mind whispering that this isn't proper, that it's somehow wrong or shameful, let me remind you, there is nothing more natural, more profoundly healing, than giving yourself permission to feel alive. This isn't indulgence, it's self-care at its most honest and courageous. As we move into the final part of this conversation, I want you to think about this question: if not now, then when? If not now, when will you allow yourself to fully experience the simple, beautiful moments of joy that life still holds for you? Because what comes next isn't just about reclaiming your nights or lifting your spirits, it's about embracing life with open arms, for however many years you have left. And believe me, those years can still be filled with wonder. Stay with me. The most powerful revelations are yet to come. Now, as we stand at the final stretch of this journey together, I want you to take a moment, close your eyes if you must, and truly ask yourself, when was the last time you felt completely at peace? Not the kind of peace that comes from simply sitting quietly or listening to soft music, but the deep, full-bodied peace that wraps around you like a warm embrace and makes you feel whole again. That's the kind of serenity you deserve, not just occasionally, but every single night as you close your eyes and drift into sleep. And believe it or not, the path to that peace might just begin with the simple, private act we've been talking about all along. You see, everything we've discussed so far, the physical benefits, the emotional release, the quieting of anxieties, these are all threads in a much larger tapestry. Together, they don't just improve your nights, they transform your days. Because when you finally embrace this part of yourself without shame or hesitation, you unlock a deeper vitality that spills into every corner of your life. It's not about chasing youth. It's about reclaiming the vibrancy that aging so often tries to steal away. I once met a couple, Robert and Elaine, both well into their 70s. They had been married for over 50 years, and while their bond was strong, the intimacy they once shared had quietly slipped away. Arthritis made certain movements painful, fatigue seemed to arrive earlier each evening, and a shared unspoken belief took hold that passion was something of the past, a memory tucked neatly away with the photographs of their younger days. But one day, after a heartfelt conversation about the importance of reconnecting with their own bodies, they each made a private decision to explore self-pleasure again. It started as a personal journey for each of them, something done quietly, almost shyly, in the privacy of their own thoughts. But over time, that personal rediscovery led them back to each other. The confidence they gained, the joy they found in their own skin, rekindled a spark they hadn't felt in years. And their laughter, oh, how it returned. Simple things like brushing hands while walking or sharing a knowing glance across the dinner table carried a new warmth, a renewed sense of connection. And at the heart of it all was this beautiful truth: when you reconnect with your own body, you become more open to life, to love, and to happiness. And let me be clear, this isn't a promise of perfection. Life after 60 will still have its aches and its quiet moments of sadness. But it also holds the potential for deep satisfaction, for rediscovering the simple joys that make life worth living. Pleasure is not just a physical act, it's a state of mind, a way of telling yourself, I am still here. I am still capable of feeling deeply. I am still worthy of joy. And the benefits go beyond even what we've spoken about. Did you know that regular moments of pleasure can actually support heart health by lowering blood pressure and improving circulation? That they help keep the pelvic muscles strong, supporting better bladder control and overall physical stability? These are the small but powerful ways your body rewards you for staying connected to it. And when you nurture that connection, the body responds in kind, giving back energy, comfort, and a renewed sense of balance. So, what's really stopping you? Is it the old beliefs you've carried for far too long, whispered to you by a society that seems to think growing older means growing invisible? Or is it the quiet fear that somehow, by embracing your own pleasure, you're admitting to a kind of loneliness? But let me tell you this, choosing to reconnect with yourself is not a sign of loneliness, it's a bold declaration of self-love. And there's nothing braver, nothing more beautiful, than standing up for your own happiness. As you lie down tonight, remember that your journey toward better sleep, improved health, and emotional healing doesn't have to wait for tomorrow. It doesn't require expensive treatments or complicated routines. It starts with a simple act of kindness to yourself. One quiet moment of saying, I deserve this. And when the night wraps around you, let it find you not restless, not burdened by thoughts of what once was or what might be, but resting peacefully in the warmth of knowing that you honored your needs, that you cared for yourself in the most honest and human way possible. If this conversation has touched something deep within you, let it be a starting point. Not just a fleeting thought, but a promise to yourself that from this day forward, you will live with a little more softness toward your own heart, a little more gentleness toward your own body, and a lot more belief that joy doesn't have a deadline. Take care of yourself, hold your own heart tenderly, and may every night ahead bring you not only peaceful sleep but the unshakable comfort of knowing that life, your life, is still filled with beautiful, intimate moments waiting to be embraced.